Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. The updated and expanded second edition of my book, The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments, is now available. Readers can expect to march with Arnie's Army at the 1960 U.S. Open, relive Jack Nicklaus's remarkable 1986 Masters win, and be amazed by the Tiger Slam. The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments. Pick it up where fine books sold, including BarnesandNoble.com and Amazon.com.
Thrive Suite Productions. And welcome back to another edition of This Day in Sports History. Now, let me start off this episode by saying that I am a huge fan of Will Ferrell's Semi-Pro. And if you've seen that movie, then you will remember that the Flint Tropics acquired Monix, played by Woody Harrelson, by trading away the team's washing machine. Well, back on January 19th, 1983, the hockey player, Tom Martin, was traded for a bus. Martin was a junior league player in the World Hockey League, whose rights were owned by the Seattle Breakers. Martin was a freshman at the University of Denver and had zero interest in playing for the Breakers, and team management knew that. The Breakers' bus broke down, and according to Martin in a recent interview, Seattle had a playoff game in Kamloops, Canada, and if they couldn't get there, they were going to have to forfeit the game. Enter the Victoria Cougars, another junior team which had recently purchased a bus. The purchase had been in the States, though, and the taxes to bring it into Canada were excessive. So when the owner of the Cougars heard that Seattle needed a bus, he reached out and said, "Give me Martin." The Breakers paid an additional $35,000 for the bus, along with releasing the rights to Tom Martin to Victoria. And that's when the media storm started. Martin got calls from the Today Show and Good Morning America, along with a host of major newspapers and news outlets in the following days. Martin's story of getting traded for a bus has a nice coda, though. He eventually made it to the NHL, played 92 games over the course of 7 seasons. But it didn't matter where he went. He was and will forever be known as Bussy for what happened on this day 41 years ago. Also on this day, in 1974, Notre Dame shocked the college basketball world, knocking off the UCLA Bruins and ending their 88-game winning streak. The Bruins were on the road for this one, and with 3.5 minutes left in the game, they led 70-59 and looked like they were going to push the streak to 89 games. But UCLA would not score another point. The Fighting Irish put together an improbable comeback when Notre Dame's Dwight Clay hit a jumper with 22 seconds left on the clock. They led 71-70 and then held off a furious flurry of 4 close shots that all clanged off the iron on the other end to secure the win. Notre Dame's win removed the polish of invincibility from UCLA, who went on to lose to Oregon and Oregon State later that year, and then had their string of 7 consecutive NCAA titles snapped when NC State beat the Bruins in the national championship game in March. Interesting fact, the last team that UCLA had lost to before starting their 88-game winning streak was Notre Dame. In 2002, it was the famous tuck rule game. Patriots QB Tom Brady's fumble was ruled an incomplete pass, sustaining the drive and allowing New England to kick a game-tying field goal and eventually beat the Oakland Raiders 16-13 in the AFC Divisional Playoff game. And in 2013, cyclist Lance Armstrong admitted to doping in all of his 7 Tours de France wins. Those 7 Tour wins were soon vacated. That's all for today. More tomorrow on This Day in Sports History.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, a.k.a. the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website, seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.